He was never the loudest in the room, never the one who complained or bragged or tried to stand out. His name was Daniel, a man who believed that if you worked hard and stayed humble, life would eventually notice. But life didn't. In a world that measures people by how early they clock in, Daniel was labeled lazy. In a world obsessed with results, no one cared about his reasons. Until the day he lost everything and finally came back with the truth. The fall. The shop opened at 8. The boss, Mr. Clark, ran it like a clock. Every minute mattered. To him, lateness wasn't a mistake. It was disrespect. And Daniel, he was late. Too often. Not by hours. Sometimes only minutes. But in Mr. Clark's world, minutes were sins. He had warned Daniel before. Once. Twice. Then came that cold Tuesday morning. Rain soaked the streets. Traffic crawled. The city groaned awake. And Daniel, clutching his worn-out backpack, ran through the downpour like a man fighting time itself. When he burst through the garage doors, soaked and breathless, the wall clock already mocked him. 8:11 a.m. Mr. Clark didn't shout. He didn't need to. His silence was enough. He just said, "You're done here." No questions. No conversation. Just like that, the door closed on years of loyalty. Daniel stood outside, water dripping from his hair, holding the only job he had ever known, now reduced to a memory. He didn't fight back. Didn't yell. He just whispered, "I'm sorry," even though no one was listening. What no one saw. That morning, he had already lived a lifetime before he even reached work. Because while most people were getting ready for their day, Daniel was fighting a different battle. In a small apartment across town, his 10-year-old sister, Mia, lay in bed pale, weak, coughing until her small body trembled. She had been sick for weeks, the kind of sickness Daniel couldn't afford to fully understand. He gave her medicine, made her soup, held her hand until the fever broke, and when she smiled weakly and whispered, "Go, I'll be fine," he knew she wouldn't be. Still, he went. Because he had to. Because that job wasn't just his, it was hers too. No one at the auto shop knew about Mia. They never asked. And Daniel never volunteered it. Pride is a strange thing. It keeps you quiet, even when silence costs you everything. The quiet after the storm. After he was fired, the world didn't stop. Bills still arrived. Medicine still cost money. And Mia still needed him. So Daniel did what good men do. He kept going. He sold old tools, fixed bikes for neighbors, slept less, worried more. Every coin became a calculation. But one night, Mia's breathing worsened. She couldn't stand, couldn't speak. Daniel rushed her to the hospital, his hands trembling on the steering wheel. The nurse took one look and said, "You got here just in time." Those words broke him because for the first time, being late almost cost him his sister. She was diagnosed with severe pneumonia. The doctor said if she had stayed home one more night, she might not have survived. Daniel sat beside her hospital bed for 3 days straight, holding her hand, whispering stories just to keep her from drifting too far away. And in those quiet hours, something in him shifted. He realized he had nothing left to lose, and maybe that meant he finally had something worth saying. The return. A week later, Daniel walked back into that auto shop. Not for his job, not for revenge, but for truth. The same workers who had watched him get fired turned their heads when they saw him walk in. Mr. Clark frowned. "You shouldn't be here," he said. Daniel nodded. "You're right," he said softly. "But I just needed you to know why I was late." He told him everything. About Mia, about the hospital, about the morning he stayed, just long enough to make sure his little sister was breathing. For the first time, Mr. Clark didn't interrupt. He just listened. And when Daniel finished, the silence in the shop felt different. It wasn't judgment anymore. It was guilt. Mr. Clark's voice cracked when he spoke. "Why didn't you just tell me?" Daniel smiled, tired, forgiving. "Because some people wouldn't believe it," he said. "And I couldn't risk sounding like another excuse." He turned to leave, but before he could reach the door, Mr. Clark stopped him. "Daniel, the position's still open," he said quietly. "If you want it." Daniel looked back. "I can't," he said. "My sister still needs me." And then, for the first time, Mr. Clark truly saw the man he had judged. Not as an employee, but as a brother. What came after? Weeks passed. Mia got better. Slowly. Her laughter came back fragile, but real. And Daniel, he found work elsewhere. Smaller pay, lighter schedule, but more time for what mattered most. Sometimes, Mr. Clark called checking in, offering help. Sometimes Daniel answered. Sometimes he didn't. Because the truth wasn't about getting his job back. It was about finally being seen. The world is quick to label people. Lazy, irresponsible, late. But behind every judgment, there's a story we haven't heard. A reason we didn't ask for. Daniel's story reminds us that sometimes, being late doesn't mean you don't care. Sometimes, it means you care about something, or someone even more.